Okay, everybody. It has been a while. It's actually been a couple of weeks since I last did one of these episodes. But I made sure that after a break that I brought on another great guest, another great guy that I've only came across in the last, say, 6 months, 7 months or so. So like I say, as always, thanks everyone for all the likes, subscribes, shares. Means a lot. And as always, get straight into it. Everybody knows me, so they're bored of listening to me. So now it's time for my guest to take away his introduction. So introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and then as always, why. There's always a why behind each
Always a
question.
why.
Yeah. So
Well, thank you
take it
so
away,
much for
man.
having me
As a pleasure. Pleasure's mine.
so much. My name is James Juda. Before anything else, I'm a son, a grandchild, and an older brother. I'm 20 years old, and I'm working towards being a general manager in the future of a football club. Currently, I'm working at Los Angeles Football Club as a data associate. And the reason that I'm working in football is because it's a sport I've always loved. Um, and the specific reason I chose football out of any other sports is because I see it as the most beautiful game in the world.
Excellent, man. And sort of talk to me like about your say your background growing up. I mean, with football. Like, did you always play? Like growing up, was there always a football in school? Was there always a football back home?
Yeah.
It
Well,
was,
the interesting thing about me is I never played football at a high level. I was
yeah.
always a fan. I was a diehard Arsenal fan growing up. I grew up around the Mesut Ozil and Alexis Sanchez era. Um, but never played at a high level. I was actually a baseball player and a water polo player, interesting enough. Um, but for me, this has always been the sport that I've had a huge interest in. I've always seen it as the world's game. I fell in love, I think, when I was about 8 years old. I saw a clip of Ronaldinho, and I was like, this is the sport I want to obsess over for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, I started seeing clips of Joe Hart at Man City, and I played a little bit of keeper as a kid, just with my friends, and that sort of motivated me to watch the sport more. And then I fell in love with Arsenal after hearing about the Invincible season, following some of the seasons at that time too. And yeah, that's where my journey started.
Oh, excellent. And just thinking ahead now, sort of 2026, just for the next year, because I know we're nearly in June, and then June 2026, most people will know there's going to be a massive event held not only in America, but in Canada and Mexico. And I suppose, yeah, you must be looking forward to it. And I'd say to sort of the American football fans and the American, obviously, soccer team are probably looking forward to hosting a World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, wow, 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 what a time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
Um, the Club World Cup, which is coming up very soon, is sort of like the preparation in a sense for this, and that's going to be super exciting. Teams from all over the world, Monterrey, Benfica, Inter, all these clubs coming to America to showcase the best talent in the world. City, I mean, it is going to be phenomenal to see that. And then in 26, knowing that the biggest tournament on earth is going to be here is like,
Uh,
so I mean,
are LA, sorry, are LA, the stadium that LA playing, are they hosting many games?
LAFC.
Yeah.
I think BMO's might host a game, but I know for a fact SoFi Stadium is going to be the place where more of the games are going to be held in the Rose Bowl, just because larger larger stadiums, more seating. I think Rose Bowl easily above 60,000 seats, maybe 80,000
Oh,
SoFi
nice.
in that range, whereas BMO is maybe like 20 to 30. So huge crowds for these games, as we know. Los Angeles is a boiling pot, different cultures all over. Everyone wants to come together to watch football. I was just with my friend Maximo at Panama versus USA, that game, and uh, Canada versus Mexico at SoFi Stadium. So we got a little bit of a preview of what it's going to be like, and it was phenomenal. The fan outturn was super special. I mean, a lot more Mexico fans than USA fans, but
Yeah.
it's Los Angeles. This was Mexico at one point. So, I honestly was heartbroken after the USA lost to Panama, and my best friend bought me a Mexico jersey. So I was rooting for them afterwards. Probably shouldn't be admitting that, but it was a great time. Super heartbroken when Panama scored, but it was really cool to see my idol Thierry Henry there celebrating with the players after that goal. So it was special. It was special.
Nice, nice. And where is the final going to be held, or is that known yet?
I believe it's in New York. Well, technically New Jersey, but I believe it's at that stadium in New York, New Jersey. Yeah, I think
Oh,
same with the Club World Cup final. But
nice.
I have a little homework to do, so don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that.
No, no, it sounds good. Nice. I'll be looking forward to it. And I know within the weeks and months leading up to it, I'll know where the group stage games are played, knockout stages. But it's just a little bit far away to
Yeah.
think about it, but we'll get there. But no, so just moving on. So just tell everybody sort of how we got to know each other and where we met.
Well, I bumped into this guy randomly. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
So
you just went out for a stroll in LA. I went out for
went
a
out for a
stroll in
stroll.
Dublin. And we somehow ended up in the middle of Greenland.
We were in Holland, bumped into each other. So I'll give a little bit of a more of a background to this just to answer. And so
Perfect.
I was working an internship in Los Angeles for a clinical sports psychologist and helping develop some books for him and this stuff. And I was connected to people at Benfica, specifically a strength trainer there, Benjamin Kugel, who was a strength trainer for Germany's team, and super amazing man. He helped me with my whole process, and I was able to get an internship for 2 weeks in the international business office at Benfica. That
Wow.
2 weeks went by like that, but thankfully they kept me on the team for 4 months um, because they liked my work and because they're in Portugal, they're just great people. My time there was really special, and we'll get into that after I answer this question. But uh, I spent the 4 months there, and then I wanted to pursue coaching license because I never played at a high level, but I want to understand the game. Even if I work on the business side, it is very important to understand the game. So I went to Amsterdam to take a coaching course at Ajax, and we took the course at the same time. We learned a lot of amazing things there, the history of the club, total football. I mean, there's nothing else you can say but just beautiful, beautiful time there. Like the club is just so magnificent. So we met through that course, and yeah,
I
that's
did. No,
yeah,
honestly, I'm the exact same. I had such amazing memories, picked up so much knowledge, and as I'm sure you well know, I went back again for a second time, which was
yeah,
absolutely brilliant. Um, but yeah, so you've done your the seminar in OX obviously with me, and we got such an amazing insight. Um, you're now obviously working in a club in America over at LAFC. You've done work in Portugal. I just want to ask, is there sort of some similarities with how um, clubs are run? And because I know for me, like you always have your superpower clubs. So say if you look at England, obviously you have like the money that's gone into Man City. You look at PSG, the money that's gone into PSG over in France. You have some of the smaller clubs that are kind of maybe selling clubs. They always sell the best players. But say, I know there's always going to be differences, but is there maybe one or two similarities between sort of all the clubs you've been involved with?
Um, well, first, the huge similarity I see between the clubs is just the amazing people that I've worked with. I cannot stress how great the people at Los Angeles Football Club and Benfica have been to me. Um, it all really starts with the mentality of the club. And so going into this, Benfica has been around since 1904. LAFC was founded in 2014 with
Yeah.
Chivas USA dissolving. So there's quite a bit of difference, but similarities between the club is the ultimate goals that they have. I mean, one's obviously going for Champions League success, and one's going for uh, either CONCACAF Champions League or MLS success. So there's a little bit of a difference in terms of what they're reaching, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring and uplift their communities while winning big trophies. And so with Benfica and the people I worked with there, very like going into the office in the morning, very positive environment, very uplifting. The entire stadium is the office. Like all the media is there, the international business office is there. It's all in house. At
Nice.
LAFC, I work in downtown at an office, but everything revolves around the area of downtown where the stadium is as well. So everything between the clubs is about the community, uplifting the community, positive mindset. Um, the differences though is held within like the league. You know, MLS is structured very different than Liga Portugal, and Benfica obviously in itself is structured very different with other clubs in Liga Portugal. Benfica is always selling players. That's just how they make money. They're known for this. They're obviously, I think, yeah, they're the top club at making profit while selling players. So that's different. And LAFC gets players, sometimes get older superstars, but what both clubs really have in common that I've seen on terms of the football side, other than the business side and how amazing people are there, is the ability to go and fight even when it gets hard. The season for Benfica at the beginning was difficult, but to see the perseverance, the fan output, the fan outcome is special. And now LAFC had a sad loss to Inter Miami, but they're going to keep fighting. You can just tell that this club wants to win.
Nice,
Oh, and one
nice.
more thing. One more thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about relegation for either of the clubs.
Yeah, it always helps if you're supporting, right, or you're working in a club that's doing well. So that's a good point. Um, I just want to actually go back and touch on something that you spoke about earlier on. Um, but so this part, I want people's minds to kind of like roam free and just go as big as you can. But it can be football, family, business related, life related, anything. What's a massive goal? Absolutely huge. And if you can be like as specific as you can, I know sometimes it's hard to sort of be specific,
Yeah.
but is there something out there that seems outrageous to you, me, to everyone that you just want to go and achieve? Because I love letting people go free and aim for as high as they can.
Well, I'm already breaking my comfort zone going on a podcast, so I'm not nervous to say anything at this point.
Excellent.
I'll preface this answer because it is a big goal, and quite frankly, it's it's a hard it's a very yeah it's hard to achieve. But for me, trophies and all this stuff, like I want to be a part of winning teams. That's the goal. I want to help teams win. But the most important thing in life is connections. Whether it's with family, faith, that all comes first. Trophies will not be next to you when things get tough. So that is not the end goal.
Yeah.
My goal is to strengthen relations and to work hard at whatever I do. And but with that said, I want to lead a team into winning. That doesn't necessarily mean a trophy, but that means uplifting players and having everyone be strong. And I have a lot of years to work towards these goals of managing a club, doing this. Like that is very far in the future. But if I could dream about any goal, like of course I would say being a part of a Champions League winning team or a Europa League winning team. But I also do understand that those are not what's really important to me as of right now. Those are dreams and things I aspire. You know, when I watch a video of Arsene Wenger lifting the 2004 Gold Invincibles Premier League trophy, do I get inspired? Of course, but I also realize that people like him, they built connections before they even dreamed of stuff like that. So that's sort of a long answer to the question, but that's just how I view it.
No, honestly, that's brilliant. I'm in the exact same boat as you. Stuff like success, and whether it's success in football with trophies and making loads of money, or success with anything else that you do, all that kind of stuff comes and goes. Yeah, it's history, but sort of like yourself, I want to give people the platform to go and achieve, do great things, give people like yourself the opportunity to come on and give some like really, really powerful messages so far that I've already taken in. Like I love the fact that you sort of came on and said you sort of spoke about who you are, like you're the person, you're a son, you're a brother, you're all that kind of stuff. It's amazing. And then similar to me, it's like when I'm in my last few days of life, that it's like, okay, maybe you only won three trophies in your life, but you actually helped 5,000 people achieve their dreams, or you uplifted the community. So I love that. I think that's amazing because I think people see success as money, big houses, cars, everything else. But I think for me, being rich in life is success. Would you kind of agree with that?
I agree, and I've definitely been inspired by a lot of the stuff, and we've had these conversations before. I mean, one thing that and I can't lie, like I do get blinded by this stuff sometimes. I think everyone does. Living in Los Angeles, there's certain things that I chase, but when I come back to the roots and I understand that I'm a human being and what's important, I do humble myself. I think I'm not going to quote this directly, but Bob Marley says that richness to him, money is life forever, living, and that's another inspiration that my dad taught me, and following the footsteps of the great Bob Marley is understanding, like, and this is
Yeah.
why I love football, because it's fluid. You connect with people. You could go all across the globe. You could go anywhere and someone's
Yeah.
kicking a football around. And so that's sort of why I chose this, because the end goal is not money, it's not trophies, it's the connections, it's the journey. um
Amazing.
Obviously, money and trophies are nice, and no one
Yeah.
wants to turn them down. But I do definitely understand that, and you and I, we definitely, I can see. I mean, it's inspiring to see some of the stuff you talk about, because you're very open about your faith. You're open about talking about hard work that needs to be put in, and these are all things that are very admirable. And those are the things that people want and should be remembered for. Um, when discussing legacy and what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like they want to be someone who no one likes, but maybe have loads of money. They want to be someone who maybe didn't make as much money, but like you just said, like you've left a legacy on so many people. Moving on now to the next lot of questions. What challenges have you come across, say up to now, so to today being Monday, just sort of along your journey to where you are now? Is part one, and part two is kind of try and think about what future challenges you might come across in the next year, in the next 5 years, to get to the level of where you want to get to of creating James's legacy.
Um, yeah, some of the challenges I faced. That's a loaded question. That's good. Well, maybe I can start with my time at Benfica and some of the challenges I faced there. First time ever living abroad and living away without any family there. So that in itself was a challenge. After I was able to connect with them through months and months of emailing and got the internship, my mom and I went and we flew together to Portugal. While all the other kids, their moms were dropping them off at college, she was dropping me off at Benfica, so she was happy about that, and
There
and
you
we had a
go.
and we had a good time for a week, and then she went back to the States, and I was there. But I wasn't nervous, really. I quite frankly didn't feel pressure. I felt more excited, but uh, the pressure I felt was going into the office, not being in a foreign country. I researched Portugal before. I was excited to go to Portugal. I mean, it is so beautiful. I was like, oh yeah, let's go. I'm on a plane, and so happy my parents supported me to go through this journey. And when I got there, I wasn't nervous until I stepped in the door, and I was like, wow, like this is a club that has such high standards and history. Uh, you go past you go past all the other stores and bodegas and all these different things, and you see Benfica in the window. You see people walking on the streets, kicking the football around with the Benfica kit on, and you're just like, oh, like this is like the city right here. Like this is the passion. Like um, I watched videos of them when they won the league prior to going there, and I was feeling a little bit like, oh, I need to make sure that I'm on best behavior, doing the best I can. And then once I went in, I did a little research on my boss, Lorenzo, before. I watched a podcast that he did, and I found out that he loved kite surfing. So I walked in and just talked about kite surfing and my experience paddleboarding. And then after we had that conversation, all the nerves fell, and I was happy to be there. But the biggest challenge was knowing that this European giant and this young American kid coming there. I, I wanted to represent not only myself well, but every other American kid that wants to go into football into the future. I was trying not to say the word soccer so much. Like I was struggling, but yeah, that was the challenge there. But then my nerves went away because I felt like I was at home. Truly, I felt like this is where I want to be. And then now going to my future challenges with LAFC. It's also a club with very high standards. I started 3 weeks ago in the office. Literally just got the job working in the data and business side, and working in Excel sheets, working in all these other platforms to help the club do partnerships and stuff. It was a little bit nerve wracking, but I practiced before I got ready to do it, and I felt like I've settled in. But there's always nerves going into the office. You don't know what the day is going to hold. And
Yeah.
for my future challenges, always Mourinho says I don't feel pressure, and I always try to remind myself, think like him, think like him. But the truth is that yeah, pressure comes, and I know pressure is going to happen in the future. Whether it's a big game that the club has, or a partnership that's on the edge of either falling out or happening. There's a lot of things I can see in the future happening, but I just know that, like I said before, if I have strong connections, everything else will fall into place, and that is the safety net in life. Like if
Yeah.
something doesn't happen on the business side, but something good happens with family or something, I know that will uplift the other side. So I kind of see them hand in hand. So yeah.
Excellent. And if you were to say, so if you were to walk into high school now, and whatever, you're sitting in front of your own class, you're talking now as 20-year-old James, and maybe your 14, 15-year-old self puts his hand up and says, James, I'm looking for a bit of advice. What would you say? What would you say to him?
Um, I was actually preparing for this question because I know we talked about some of the questions before. I was like, younger self. I was like, how young are we gonna go with this? 14 to 15.
Or whatever. Just even James
No,
from
but that's a great year, maybe. I
yeah.
think that's a good age range because that's
Okay,
like,
okay. Off you
yeah.
go.
But yeah, any age. I think what I would tell myself is to enjoy it every moment, especially when the hormones are flowing and you're developing. And I'm young now and I'm still learning a lot of things. Not everything's perfect, but I would say just enjoy it. The hard, the not good, the don't want to get up in the morning. Something bad has happened. You'll be fine. You can't control everything. That's the big thing I would say is control what you can control. Because if you try and control the uncontrollables, you're going to drive yourself crazy. And have determination like nobody else. If you're a C student, that's fine. Like I wasn't the best student at times. I've struggled before, but having determination, finding whatever drives me, and I've switched passions a lot in life, and I'm happy I've found the one that I truly think I'll stick with for the rest of my life. But at that age, I went from going into drumming to paddleboarding to being captain of the baseball team to this and that, but always knowing that wherever you end up, just to be happy and enjoy the journey.
Amazing, man. And that even goes back to, I believe, like being rich in life, that if you're happy in your job, with your family, in any relationships that you're in, if you're happy in your day-to-day life, honestly, I actually think that is being rich. Now, obviously, you can be physically rich with lots of money, big house, nice car, all that kind of stuff. But I genuinely believe what you're saying is if you're happy in life, happy with your family, that's
I
that.
felt like the richest man. I felt like Jeff Bezos going into Benfica. I felt like Steve Jobs going into Benfica. I felt
There you
like Steve
go.
Ballmer going into Benfica. That's just how I felt when I was going into these clubs. And when we did our coaching course at Ajax, like I literally could not have been happier waking up in the morning, going to the training facilities, uh, going with you guys, going into these seminars. Like that was to me just like something I will always cherish for the rest of my life. And
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing. Right. The final question, because yeah, I know everyone's time is precious, and I've loved this conversation. But so a really really good mate of mine, Jack Sweeney Lee, he has given me this question, so he gets credit for this question. But what is something, or maybe it's kind of like an area that you are going to work on, say for the rest of this week to improve your life, your career, anything that you want to go do, and it can even be something related to your big goals of where you want to go to, or it can be something related to what you want to do at home or your faith or anything. But is there something that comes to mind when I ask you that question?
yep, already got it. I'll give you a quick rundown. Here we go. Today I have to go to my sister's softball game to support her. Uh, she's in high school and she would show up to my baseball games when I was in high school. So first thing is doing that because I know as an older brother that's my obligation, my duty. And then tomorrow I go into the office and I do work for LAFC. They're just always being prepared, always ready for whatever task may happen, whether it's helping with a club like Grasshopper Zurich, which LAFC owns, or doing data entries, always being prepared for that. And the good thing is the more and more time I spend there, the more and more trust they gain with me. So just making sure I show up. I like to be the first one there usually, so I'm up pretty early. So have to make sure I get good rest today, and then yeah, have a long weekend ahead with Easter and stuff. So the entire week is learning more and more that I can, especially within the football world. Uh, Networking, even though I'm at this club right now, it's always good to have connections to make sure that I can reach out to someone. Like even what we're doing right now, this is monumental. So spending a significant time of my week being a brother, a son, as well as on the business side, networking, going to work, showing up on time. Just it sounds very basic, but it's the truth is it can be very difficult sometimes, and
Yeah.
making sure I show up because that's 90% of it. So that's my plan for the week, showing up where I need
Brilliant.
to be.
Brilliant. I know even though you may say it's basic, but like you said, it is hard. I think one of the hardest things for people to do is be consistent. If you can do basic actions or fundamental actions every single day, and you do it consistently over a long period of time, that's where I believe where you get growth, where you get your sort of success, if you want to talk it like that. And that's where I believe everyone gets there. It's consistency is probably one of the hardest things to do. So
100%.
absolutely amazing. But look, it has been inspiring talking to you. I've absolutely loved it. And like I say to everyone, what I'm going to go do is in a year's time, so April 2026, we'll be 2 months out from the World Cup, and we definitely will. We're going to go do another episode and see what's going on in the year because so much can go on.
100%. And pleasure's really mine. Thank you so much for having me on, and truly an inspiration. And I look up to more than you know. And this is my first podcast that I've ever done. So thank you for introducing me to this role. And I look forward to continuing this relationship as well as looking forward to the 2026 World Cup. And I know you're going to be rooting for the USA there, which is
Yeah, well, because Ireland won't be there, there's no chance Ireland will be.
well, I don't know how good our chances are, but if you want to support, I'll send you a kit.
Absolutely. I plan on going. The pleasure has honestly been mine. Thank you so much. As
Thank
always,
you.
thank you to everybody for listening and stay tuned for the next episode and see you later on.